Welcome to a continuation of real-life drama. Today, demand for justice. It's time for light workers to stop hiding in silence and become activists. If we ever expect justice, we must be willing to take a stand and tell the truth to power. To be unwilling and silent is to give consent to injustice. Without justice, there can never be peace on earth. This is how you can help. Let your voice be heard. And a web page on my website will be provided. For those of you that have been listening, you know what has been going on, and many of you have asked for help. I did not get a nap yesterday, though I tried. Twice when I laid down, I was interrupted by phone calls, one of which lasted probably 2 hours. And I am so grateful for the information that I received. I was told by someone who knows the law very well that the courts, the judges, the lawyers, pay no attention to papers filed with the court if they aren't filed in the proper format. And he said, when you've been filing affidavits, they don't even look at the affidavits. They throw them away. I mean, they ignore them. He said, you have to follow the rules of procedure or they don't allow whatever you present to have any effect. Obviously, folks, they have not allowed anything that I have done to have any effect at all, and I have filed almost everything in recent years in the form of an affidavit, under penalty of law, taking an oath under penalty of law. In any case, he told me to look at the Florida statutes and the Florida rules of civil procedure. And I spent, God, I don't know how many hours yesterday poring over information about how things work in the system. And I will be filing a motion because that's the procedure. It can't be an affidavit, it has to be a motion. And you can't just file it with the court. You have to actually call the judicial assistant and get it put on the docket. If you just file it with the court and it's not put on the docket, the step isn't completed. They never told me that, folks. I thought when I file a paper with the court, they pay attention to it. Although, truthfully, in one hearing that I was at last year, an early part of last year, the judge hadn't even seen the motion that I had filed. And that was a motion, if I remember right, not simply an affidavit. Hadn't even looked at my motion. All he pays attention to is the lawyers, which is wrong. I mean, under common law, a person acting as pro se has to be given latitude and special grace in presenting their case. The court has to give them the benefit of the doubt, not expecting them to follow every procedure perfectly and fill out every form exactly the way a lawyer does it. In any case, you all have been asking how you can help. Well, it's time to be active. This is activism, folks. I have written up a demand for justice, which is a petition, and I've posted it on my web page, on my website. It has its own page, and you can go there and you can actually take action. And this is only step one because we're going to be doing some email things as well, but I don't have that ready yet. God, with all that's on my plate looking in the next few days, I'll get it as fast as I can. But believe me, I'm working very hard on this thing, trying to understand and trying to learn how to speak up for myself. And it's not just for me, it's for thousands and even millions of people around the world that have been defrauded by the banks and the courts and our own governments. And we need to take a stand. Here's the demand for justice. I'm going to read it to you. regarding the home, spiritual center, and property located at 473 Thomas Drive, Melbourne, Florida. We, the undersigned, human beings endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable and inalienable rights, do hereby place a demand upon the Circuit Court of the 18th Judicial Circuit in and for Brevard County, Florida, and the Brevard County Sheriff's Department to stop any and all proceedings related to the order granting, in part, third-party defendant PNC Bank's second motion for summary judgment, filed in open court on the 27th day of April 2011 at 10:51 a.m. for the following reasons. Number one, the property named in that order is a registered homestead protected by Florida law, Title 15, Chapter 222.01, Paragraph 1, to wit, quote, exempting property as a homestead from forced sale under any process of law. Number two, the property has been operating as a spiritual center since August 2005 with all rights and privileges as recorded in the above court, the Florida Secretary of State, and online internationally at National Republic Registry, and that's in the whole web address is in the document, and it's page 8 of the RTVD Liber documents, April 17, 2010. Number three, the property is secured by the same document indicated in number 2, to wit, quote, this privately held security agreement in hand cannot be discharged in bankruptcy court or any other court as holder's property is exempt from levy, end quote. Page 18 of the RTVD Liber documents, April 17, 2010. Number 4, this property was never listed on any mortgage or promissory note since occupancy was established by secured party creditor Ronald Thomas Van Dyke in July 2005 with clear title since that time. Number 5, the paperwork to establish PNC's claim is fraudulent for the following reasons. A, the original note was lost and the claim is based on a copy, which has been ruled invalid for negotiable instruments by several U.S. courts, including the Florida Court of Appeals, citing 673.3091 of the Florida statutes. B, the affidavit to reestablish lost note is invalid. Florida Supreme Court law. Quote, when verification of a document is required, the document filed shall include an oath, affirmation, or the following statement. Quote, under penalty of perjury, I declare that I have read the foregoing and the facts alleged therein are true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. That's the Florida Rule of Civil Procedure, number 1.110, paragraph B. C, the above Brevard County Court has ruled that the transfer of deed on March 17, 2005 was null and void, making all transactions thereafter based upon that transfer null and void as well. 6, the court ignored all affidavits filed by Ronald Thomas Van Dyke. Truth maxim number 3, an unrebutted affidavit is the executed judgment in commerce. Except for a jury, it is also a capital fatal offense for any person, even a judge, to impair or to expunge without a counter affidavit any affidavit or any commercial process based on affidavit. 7, bank fraud has been reported in all types of media and in the halls of the U.S. Congress. It's time the courts and law enforcement agencies stop protecting the banks and their lawyers from this ongoing fraud. We demand it now. We, the people, have spoken in support of our brother and in defense of justice. That's the demand for justice petition that I'm asking you to go online onto my website, to the page that's indicated, pull it up, copy it and paste it onto pieces of paper, and there's lines provided and addresses of the court, of the sheriff's department, and the lawyer and the law firm that are supporting this action. That law firm has been guilty of committing fraud on the court. The court is committing fraud on itself. It's time that we stop this in its tracks. I'm going to dot my I's and cross my T's to the best of my ability in presenting my notice, but they need to hear that we, the people around the world, are tired of these sick games and tired of the injustices caused by a system that has no heart, no compassion, no feeling, and very little common sense. It's a good old boys club, sometimes women, that operates on its own rules. They don't even keep their own rules, folks. They don't even keep their own rules. There are so many things that I'm learning. I mean, it's voluminous. And the web that they have woven is so incredulous. It's almost impossible to wade through even the contradictory statements within the law, so they can find a law to justify almost anything. But they do have some laws that are pretty hard and fast. That one by the Florida Supreme Court was just added last year because of all the foreclosure mess. And they have to take an oath. They can't put an affidavit out claiming that this is the truth unless they take an affirmation and an oath, and they do it under penalty of perjury. If that is not in there, it's not a valid affidavit for use in a foreclosure or the theft of property such as this is doing. Now, there's so many other things. I mean, my head was spinning after I had the conversation with that person that called me yesterday, that individual, that human being, not person, that human being who called me and to help me and to tell me, explain to me how the system really works, and to tell me what I was doing that was being ignored, why I was being ignored. You can feel my frustration. I'm supposed to be doing a radio or podcast tonight from 8 o'clock Eastern Time till 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And he was supposed to send me the link for that. And quite honestly, if he did, it got lost in emails because I haven't seen it, so I can't provide that. But we'll be able to watch it or hear it in the archives. I think it's just an audio call-in program. I was going to have you all call in, but I can't do that because I don't have the information. He said he'd send it to me, but he has not done it. And in this moment, I can't even remember the man's name. I know he lives in New Hampshire. And I apologize for that too. I have had so many things on my mind, and please forgive me for not getting every detail taken care of. There are so many people that are helping in so many ways, and I'm doing the best I can and working as quickly and as hard as I can for you, for the whole human race, to end this injustice. We must demand justice. We must demand that the courts abide by their own rules and not sidestep in favor of the banks. As I said in that demand for justice, it's well known, well publicized, even mainstream media and even in the halls of Congress, the degree of bank fraud that is so prevalent within the United States. And folks, it's in Canada and all of North and South America. It's in Europe. It's in Africa. It's in Asia. It's everywhere the Uniform Commercial Code operates. Everywhere. We've got to stop this. That's all I'm going to share with you this morning. I am going to keep it under 15 minutes. And I started at a different time. 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. This is the countdown to freedom. Namaste.